on your OPGG. I'm surprised you're playing so much jungle considering like you dominate so hard mid lane. So what's your thought process there?
Yeah, it's just when I play mid queue into mid lane, I get mostly jungle though. So unless I'm dueling with my friend, I just mostly get jungle. So I think if I'm not dueling, I probably get 70% mid, sorry, 70% jungle and 30% mid. But then when I duo, I get 70% mid, 30% jungle. So
That's crazy. I didn't realize it did that in this kind of elo.
yeah, I don't think people play jungle in this elo. So that's why I'm like, I have to play jungle, otherwise, and I have to get decent at it.
Right. I think Riot was saying something that in lower elo, not enough people are trying to jungle. So what they were gonna try to do
Oh,
in next patch, they were like gonna try to make 10.4, which will be in like 10 days from now. They're gonna try to
yeah.
make Darius Talon junglers and shit.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah. I will say, I haven't really had a chance to look over the replay, so we'll be seeing it with fresh eyes. I am a little surprised you're not doing Diana jungle, considering how good you are at her mid. Yes, Ekko's still good. They did just nerf his clears a little bit, so if you're kind of wishy-washy on which one you want to play, I think there's nothing wrong with Diana. But your runes look normal. That's the common set top tier players are taking. That's the set I encourage. Everything looks good. Your level order, WQE into Q-Max into E, that looks fine. Yeah, so your runes, your setup, everything looks good. So let's go into the gameplay. What do you think are your biggest strengths and weaknesses as a jungler being a mid main?
I think my mechanics are okay. I mean, obviously, I'm a bronze player, so I miss some skill shots, but comparatively to my rank, I think my mechanics are fine. I think a lot of times I don't really know what to do. I think a lot of times I'm not very efficient with my pathing. In that I'll just like run around for a few like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, not doing anything. And I don't know what to do. And I think here I even forgot to buy items my first run, or so. Oh no,
Oh
I didn't.
shit. Let's see. All
Okay, I
right.
did buy this time. Okay, I had a game where I forgot to buy items. I was like, what the fuck was I doing?
Yeah, that's fair. That's very common because the different decision makings as a jungler can differ greatly than mid since you're focusing on different objectives. The
Yeah.
one thing I will say is as a jungler or as really anybody, if you're playing against level 1 against hook champs, blitz, thresh, pike, you even if it's happening or not, just expect an invade. And also they have the Zoe sleep. So their level 1's actually really, really strong. So the first thing you'd want to do with leaving base is get a ward down. So either run down mid into here, lay the ward, or you could do it this way and lay it. But we want to try to get vision down into that invade because if they did, things could go very bad for us. Also, uh, especially for non-invisible champions, having sweeper is really nice. Because so if you were to lay your ward back at sweeper, you could still be here in time easily as long as you back no later than like 150, 155. And by the time you finish your first camp, your sweeper's up anyway. So when you do go in for a gank, you'll have it. Because you know, like when you're going in for a gank, the ward doesn't really help anyways. It's more
Right,
just...
right.
Okay, so that's just the first thing. Get your ward down. You'll increase your win rate a little bit by not dying from invades, and you also get a sweeper. Looks like
Right.
you're trying to decide. Looks like you're gonna start Q. Your comp, something I'll say about the comps is I think it's actually in your favor in a 5v5 team fight because of the Veigar cage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like your guys' comp. Something you should know about Gragas is he's not in the best spot right now as a jungler. You should be able to outpower farm him, and in a 1v1, assuming you've been doing the early game properly, you should be able to beat him because he's
So
very
yeah, with the
team.
power farm, I feel like I do better in these games, and maybe again this is a pathing issue. Is when I power farm, my lanes are, and I'm not trying to blame teammates because I know it's probably me, but like when I try to power farm, sometimes what happens is my teammates get ganked and I'm not there because I'm trying to power farm, and then
Right.
we end up losing. And so now I've kind of just like heavily tilt towards just try to gank if someone is pushed up and not farm, which I don't usually doesn't work either. So
Right.
I'm very confused.
So you're leaning a little bit more towards over ganking rather than over farming.
Right, right.
Yeah, that's actually the most common thing we see in low elo is junglers. They're like mothers who sacrifice too much for their children. They're constantly putting themselves at a disadvantage by trying to help out too much. And in turn, the main thing you need to keep in mind that a lot of people don't realize is every time you go in for a gank, whether it is successful or not, you're giving away your position on the map. So let's say
Right.
if you don't get anything out of it and you give away your position, it's a double whammy, not to mention you're not farming.
Right.
Something to think about. So.
And then ganking lanes, like I realized in games I win, I generally get my bot. Again, I think it's because people in low elo don't really know how to close out the game. I personally also don't really know how to close out the game.
Right.
And so I feel like ganking bot is a lot more effective than ganking top. And like this game, I focused a lot on top, and then like our Fiora wasn't able to scale compared to their, I think, their misfortune, and it like really hurt us. I think, or maybe not. I don't know. We can watch it.
In terms of the ganking lanes, I wouldn't focus too much on whether it's top, bot, or mid. I would just focus on what's the highest chance of success. For example, instead of Senna, if she didn't go Glacial, and let's say if this Veigar was an MF support, you probably wouldn't be ganking this too much. Like, just focus on where you think you can get the kill. So in this case, yeah, this bot lane is a hard kill lane. If they shove up, Veigar can just drop cage. It's free. Top lane is also a kill lane. The only lane that you should be thinking about that you have low chances of getting a kill is probably the Zoe, because she's going to be sitting back. And
yeah.
So either top or bot's completely fine. What typically happens as a jungler, something you need to understand, is your first gank will typically be, unless you're doing a very awkward clear out, your first gank will normally be at the end of your clear out. So in this case, since you're starting bot, it should end top, and then at that point you can either back, invade, or gank again depending on just what's happening. So going into Gromp is fine. Smiting it, totally good. Gromp does a lot of damage. Your W's coming up, I would just drop it immediately here, and then just I wouldn't wait necessarily for the Q.
Gotcha.
And then just nice job. I would auto the to get the third proc. Yep. Just walk away, Q through it. I like how you're kiting it to your next camp. That's a really good sign.
Yeah.
So next up is, I wouldn't skip the Raptors. The only time that you would want to, on a power farm jungler like Karthus, Evelynn, Ekko, and your first clear that you'd want to skip this is if you have a strong feeling, based off of whatever reason, that the enemy jungler is on your buff. Otherwise, do Raps into red.
Right. Gotcha.
So what's going to end up happening here, it's going to blow up your clear out. I would definitely get in the bush, unless you did know where the enemy jungler was. A lot of times they'll just sit there and poach. And I guess in this case, you're going to kite towards your Raptors. Do you intend on doing your Raptors at this point, or do you just want to heal off of them with your Q?
I was going to heal off with the Q. I think I was going to go try to contest a Scuttle, because I know it's coming up.
Okay. All right. There's nothing wrong with that. If you were to do a full normal EkkoJungle clear out, so then the Raps red Golem, you'd be finished Golem around 345. So if the enemy jungler did go for Scuttle, which comes in at 330. Wait, no, is it 315? Yeah, at 315. So you'd be finishing this around 340. So the Scuttle would have already been up for roughly 15-20 seconds. So whenever you're trying to make that decision, so let's say you did Raps and you're on red right now, and then the Scuttle would be spawning in. If that were happening, you would look at your lanes to decide if you wanted to go for Scuttle. So right now, the way that the lanes work, it looks like the enemies have a little bit more mid-prio. So going for Scuttle is...
risky?
Yeah, it's tough to say, since they just have so much more mid-prio. It is a little bit risky. Like, let's say you go for it, and then Gragas comes, Zoe comes. You're just going to get pushed off anyways, which I'm worried about what's going to happen here. So Irelia's over pushed. Scuttle's coming up. I would just start on it immediately.
Oh, and not help her. I guess she's dead anyway.
Right, because let's say even if she does manage to get to her turret and they leave her alone, they have so much health, and you're not even full health or fed. Like, what are you going to do anyways, you know? So I would take the Scuttle. I'd start shoving it towards mid, assuming you didn't see Zoe Ward over here. If you saw Zoe Ward over there, I would try to just push it into the wall and keep it like right here, because Gragas is probably going to come down here and push you off Scuttle. So they do kill Irelia. We needed to be taking Scuttle. Let's say if we were on Scuttle taking it, we could probably take it before Gragas got to us, and then we could at least move through mid to put pressure on her, hopefully get a flash, and then get the other Scuttle. So in this case, since we didn't start it, we're just kind of walking around. I think we're going to lose out on this Scuttle.
Yeah.
And
this is like a clear example like of me doing, like, not knowing what to do, you know?
Right.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to bait it because Irelia pinged. And then, so I'm just sitting in here.
Now, something that I do like here that is a little bit of luck, it might have been a little bit of skill depending on your knowledge, is the Scuttle was moving this way. as Gragas was moving this way. So now it's right on top of you. So you could actually drop your W on him. And I think he just used his dash as well. So you could drop W. He won't see it or hear it until it's about to fall, since he doesn't have vision of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if they can see you using it, they see Ekko say "let's go" or whatever, and they hear the audio. But since he can't see you, you'll basically get off 80% of it before he realizes. So at this point, I would, since he's already wasted his E, he's committed and it's moving towards you. I would drop your W like right on top of it and then fuck him up.
Gotcha.
Because Zoe's stuck mid, she's low mana. So we overweighted here a little bit. Definitely lead with W next time, since you already knew his dash was down. Now, if his dash wasn't down, don't lead with your stun.
Right. That's fair.
So now we miss our thing. We try to stay on top of him. I think it definitely would have been a kill if we would have landed the stun. But now we have a double Scuttle Crab set up.
Yeah.
Maybe go for the Mord first, E into him. I feel like after your E... I can't... Was it on cooldown? Okay, yeah. So your Q was on cooldown. Normally, right after hitting it with E, you'd Q in point blank range to land for free. So you E into him, Q, and then auto, and then you could just run through him and hit him with the second part anyways. But your Q is still on cooldown, so it's fine. Hit him with Q.
I don't know why I flashed here. This is kind of dumb.
Yeah, a little bit. Your E's such a long range. It's basically 2 flashes. So even if you did flash, you would just E finish him. So definitely hold on to that. Let's get Scuttle and try to go for the other one as well. And while we're taking Scuttle here, since Scuttle can't fight back, and we know Gragas is low on health, we know he's probably not going to fuck with us. He's either based or he's just low health in his jungle. What we want to do is just take Scuttle and move through mid and then take the other Scuttle. Let's say even if he was low on health, well, he is. Let's say instead of backing, if he stayed on Wolves, if you hit him with this plant, he would have seen it, and like, what are the odds of you killing him anyways? Do you know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
Right now we're just wasting our time. We're in the power position. We don't need to be doing that. So this is a free kill here. We should have finished this by now. She's overshoved. If you don't know if her flash is up or not, then it's totally fine. Well, if you had your flash, you might have been able to clear this, but I like the pathing you're taking to cut her off. Once again, if we didn't use our flash there, flash E.
E, that's fair.
That's the thing that it's hard to understand that every person does. Just like one little mistake has the butterfly effect of affecting the next 4 or 5 situations.
Right, you're right.
So in this case, we're gonna let her go. We'll get the other Scuttle Crab, which is really, really good. Let's drop the stun on it and then smite it once it's stunned. Or unless you want to gank bot, in which case hold on to your stun. That's a big minion wave. This is going to be tough. Veigar isn't here yet. It might not work. It's only going to work if the enemies stay on turret. It's always not gankable. She's just going to hide. So we got double Scuttle. So even with this mistake over here, and even with us blowing past this, we're still in a decent position because the double Scuttle. The enemies... Yeah, we can't do anything if Gragas is there. Probably just set up a back.
Yeah.
Looks like we have 1.1k, so we can get the blue smite boots and a pink ward. And hopefully sweeper as well. Yep, good. Once again, definitely want to get sweeper before your first gank. So before the game starts, you get your ward down and sweeper.
Right.
But good job getting sweeper this time. You got a pink ward.
I have the...
Oh, yeah, the free boots is what happened. Yeah, okay. That's fine. All right, we're in a good spot. We got blue smite. We're going straight into jungle item. That's the proper power spike here. I definitely would have gone for Gromp first. Maybe you're waiting on your blue buff spawn. You might want to do wolves into Gromp into blue. That might be what's happening.
Yeah, I guess it's like, that's... Like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, like... Blue is spawning soon, so let's kill this thing first, and then go Gromp, then blue. But then I guess, like, I know the clear way, the correct way is like the wolves, Gromps, and then up, and then do a full clear before ganking. But it's like, this is one of those things where I'm like, I can't gank, so I'm like, all right, now I can go mid. So I try to go mid, I think.
Right. Yeah, Zoe definitely does look gankable.
But like, I'm like level 5, so.
Right. There's one, we're close to hitting level, we're not close to hitting level 6, but we haven't hit our level 6 power spike or our full jungle power spike. But if Zoe does keep pushing up here, we can definitely pinch the kill. I don't like leaving the clear though, since you just cleared these. I would have liked him to take blue as well, but you thought Zoe was going to stay, so this is okay. Ooh, I definitely used W a little bit too soon there. Since you're already behind her, there's really no rush to use W since you already have her path cut off.
Oh, interesting. And then I fed. I don't know. I just didn't didn't dodge.
Q. At least you guys got the kill. Okay, now coming out of spawn.
Sorry, on the last one. So why did you just say the W was too early? Is it because like I thought I want to use a W before I engage.
So it depends. So number one, if we thought this was warded, we wouldn't want a W. You actually check the bush with sweeper first, which is good, and then you W. Now the reason why I'm not a huge fan of this one is look at her closest path to get to her turret. She can actually skim across the edge of this and it will barely increase it. I would have liked to seen it a little bit closer to her, and I would have liked to seen the edge of it brush up against this wall a little bit so we could force her pathing, because right now she has two fairly easy pathing options around it, and it's also it's not just like of how soon you used it, it's also where you put it. So if you're going to use it like this, like even if she started running immediately, it's going to be hard for her to even run into this. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just so far back. So if we would have pushed that a little bit closer to her, it would have been easier, because we threw it out so soon that we were in a hurry to get to it. So lets her land an easy sleep. Now we have very little pressure. I would definitely drop the blue smite like you did. We do end up killing her, which is good. Now that we're leaving base, since it's only our blue and these camps are down, I would like to see you go golems and turret, wraps, wolves, blue.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Right, because so what's gonna end up happening is if we run straight here, we're gonna take blue, and then it's like, then what? Then we're gonna.
But it looks like, so this is one of the questions I have is like these guys are pretty pushed up. They have a lot of pressure.
These guys.
I feel like if I go in, I can like get a gank
versus. If you were level 6 or if you were ahead, but the main issue right now is, since they have the pressure they're warding right now, you know Thresh is probably going to ward this since he just went into the bush. If you go to gank this, you're not level 6 and you're not fed, what do you think is going to happen? Thresh is going to run away, he's going to lantern MF, and you're probably not going to get the kill. Now, with that being said, if you were level 6 or if you did have your full jungle item at this point, then I would say, yeah, go for it. But you don't really have any damage. Yeah, I just wouldn't. You need to get yourself ahead at this point. You're starting to fall behind in golden experience to where we're getting fewer and fewer options. So if we keep taking options that could potentially put us behind, we're never going to be in a point in this game where we're going to be able to really solo anyone. So as we run past this, we took a option where it wasn't really guaranteed. Even the blue buff, at least we're getting scuttle.
Yeah, I guess one of the things I always try to prioritize is like scuttle over anything else. Is that like wrong?
Scuttle is one of the best options and the first clear out, since you can clear straight into it. So the first clear out is super, super valuable, yes. In the mid game, if you're giving up your full pathing to go for it and you're not fed, it's not the best. So if you were fed right now, yeah, you could scuttle, go straight into his jungle and knock his head in. But since you're not fed, you're leaving your full pathing for scuttle. It's like, now what are you going to do? Not a whole lot. Gotcha. So yeah, the farther ahead you are, the more valuable scuttle is in the mid game, because you can just push into their jungle off of it regardless. But since you're not fed, what's going to happen if you go into his jungle? Zoe and him are going to kill you.
I see.
So yep, they are over pushed. She's low on health, low on mana. It's going to be tough though since they have it warded. Your best option when you think they have it warded like this is, if you are going to go in for the gank, well, first of all, your AD carry is dead, so you can't now. But if she was alive, you need them to push up a little bit more, and you could use this plant and come in.
Interesting.
But yeah, since your AD carry is dead, I can't imagine this turning out. There's no way. Maybe.
He goes in and baits, yeah. And I was like, all right, let's do this.
Okay, nice. Stay on top of him, blue smite, keep blocking. That's awesome. You're blocking his pathing. That's perfect. Very, very good. All right, that actually turned out a lot better than I thought it would. Hey, so sometimes those situations turn out, so I'm happy that one turned out for you guys. Now that you got the kills, Dragon's the right call. Gragas is dead too. Very good. I would definitely stay on it and not come to help him. He's really low regardless.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that.
Especially since,
like the classic example of me trying to help my teammates.
Right. You just have to wait. So you're like, there's a 10% chance I could get to him before he dies. Is it worth it? You're like, nah, let's just let him die.
Yeah, that's fair. And then now there's no point doing this, right?
Well, it's a little bit harder now because it reset its HP, And now
Yeah.
Zoe is here, so at this point we probably have to let it be unless you think you can get on top of her with your W.
Yeah, so I think I just back. This is so scary.
Yeah, that is scary. So now at this point, so every time you go to base, you need to be looking for your next main option. And the baseline as a jungler for what you should be doing at all times is farming. That is like when you're writing code, this is true unless this is true. So if when you go to set up your power farm, if there's a much better option, then you leave your route and you go take it. But for now, there's no option on the map unless you see
So should I
Gragas.
be like top to bottom? Like take their, cause like, you know, I have all my camps up right now, so I should be doing top to bottom.
Well, you could do bottom to top too, since all your bot camps are up. And what I would say in this particular situation, since Gragas is near bot side and you might see him go for dragon, going for bot into top here might be the better option.
I see.
Now, if we saw Gragas top, then yeah, we could do top into bottom. But since we see him bot, we don't want him to get dragged. Since drag's up, we could do bot. But now, with that being said, if you felt like your bot lane was really far behind, let's say your bot lane was 0-6, then we would just do top side, and then if we thought Gragas was going for dragon, we would just trade Herald for it instead.
Trade for Herald, right.
So in this case, going top side is slightly less optimal, and I would definitely leave base path linear into golems into red. We've been neglecting golems, and especially with this most recent patch, they buffed XP up a little bit. So neglecting it for this long is going to start to take a toll on us. We definitely don't want Gragas to have more CS than us as Ekko. We should be out farming him a little bit.
Gotcha.
Mord's shoving up. See, this is one of those parts. So let's say, well, we should have done golems into red, and by this time you would have been on your red. You would have been like, okay, Mord's pushing up. I rally. You look at the item difference. You're like, maybe. He does have Riley's, and he's a level up. So this is a bit of a questionable gank if you want to go for it, since Mord has ult. So you might just keep farming it out. Because look, he has full item and a level up. So if you go for this, I would imagine one of you would die here, but Mord just missed all of his stuff, so maybe not. This fight honestly shouldn't have been close. He's a level up with a full item. He still hasn't gotten his passive on. Okay, you go for the mid wave, that's fine. Definitely would try to get the raptors first, so unless it's on turret, just take raps and then take the wave.
Yeah, I was like, oh, they're low. I should go gank top.
I think Mord's
Should I have
probably
the raptors first?
well, you went for the minion wave. Unless the minion wave was on turret, I would take the raptors first. What I'm seeing a lot is we'll set up a full clear, but it keeps turning into semi-full clears, and so we'll just keep falling behind in CS.
Yeah, but like, so actually, let's...
So in this case, it does turn out just because they happen to be fighting at that exact moment. So we're finding opportunities where our semi route is turning out, but like, for example, there, I don't know why Mord didn't kill her. I think his ult's up. He should have just pressed R and killed her, but maybe he... Okay, you get the kill. At this point, just shove the wave, take turret plates. It's almost 14 minutes in, so your opportunities to take turret plates are definitely running out. So next time, stay. 14-minute mark, all the plate gold falls off, and you can't access it regardless, so it's like a limited time investment. Going for Herald's a good option too, since you could probably lay it before the 14-minute mark. So either one is a good choice here.
Yeah, I think that was what I was planning to do. I was like, fuck it.
Right, Gragas just took dragon, so you know he's not going to contest. It's good. Zoe on turret, bot lane's where they need to be. Whenever you're taking objectives, you're just looking to see if people are where they're supposed to be at. Make sure you're not about to get pinched. Aurelia's full health. Takes Scuttle. She has TP. She could just TP back and you guys can get the kill. I think Mord ult is up though, so you need to be mindful of that. Yep, leaving off Scuttle ganks in the mid game is actually really strong, especially once you have your full jungle item power spike compared to over here where you didn't. Now that you have your jungle full power spike, it is so huge. I can't stress it enough. So even though Zoe's ahead, she has more CS than you, she has more gold than you, just since she hasn't backed and just because jungle item is so cheap. Look, you have a full item, she doesn't. So what do you think's gonna happen?
I see. I should be able to kill her.
Yeah,
I
so
don't think
just...
I do, though.
Yeah, it looks like Zed's gonna get it.
I don't have flash or anything there. I don't know what I should have done differently there.
That's what
like
we're
a
gonna
bigger wrap?
I will say, it's tough because she's moving so fast. If you had Blue Smite, I would say just Eon to Gragas and then Blue Smite her for the kill, but you don't have Blue Smite.
Yeah.
That would have been really sick though if you did. Alright, at this point, Zoe's really low. You could just wave clear maybe into Herald drop. It might be kind of tough though because of the Gragas. Since you do have ulti, you might be able to make it work. You see
I
he's
see
shoved up.
Mordekaiser shoved up again. That's why I went up.
It's a decent choice to have the scuttle route, so it's not horrible. The only thing I'll say about it is Mord is... I still don't see how she could possibly solo him. What in my mind, what should happen is you go to gank, he presses R on her and kills her, but that's not what's been happening. So you're gonna lay Herald. I'll get some hits off on the turret.
Yeah, I did something really dumb here.
Ooh, Irelia.
Yeah, I really also did something pretty dumb. But I was thinking, like, should I help her? Should I do the turret? I ended up doing neither.
Right. So what's making this tough is how much health the turret has and the plate. So every time you break a plate, I believe it's like for the next 8 seconds, it gets a fuckload of extra armor and magic resist. And for each nearby enemy, since there's 2 of you, it's getting even extra armor and magic resist. And the Herald, I think it can only scrape around like 2 plates at a time. I don't think it can really do more than 2 plates. So since there's 2 of you especially, it's getting extra armor and magic resist. So unless you and Irelia could chip down this 1 plate, it's going to be really tough because Herald's going to scrape 2. It's going to get a bunch of armor and magic resist, and then you guys trying to break it's going to be tough.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Right. So whenever we're using Herald, there's 2 things we're looking for. 1, is there an enemy there to defend it? That's the main thing, because unless the Herald can wipe it out in 1 shot, if there's an enemy there to defend it in general, you're not going to get the turret because the Herald's so squishy. So 1, is an enemy there to defend it? And 2, if I use this Herald, will we be able to get at least a turret and a half? If neither conditions are met, there's no purpose of using it. If you're really fed, and if there is an enemy, if you feel like you can kill them and then use it, then that's the option. But here, a little preemptive on the Herald. I think we're just overfishing for kills a bit much. We're not, even though we have more kills than Gragas, since our CS is so little, we don't feel confident to go in his jungle and solo him. And as the better player, we want to feel confident to be far enough ahead to where we have more options to be able to go into his jungle. So right now, all we feel like we can do is spam gank and farm our own jungle. And if that's the positions we're constantly setting ourselves up for, we'll never be able to win that many more games. Because if we're not setting ourselves up to be ahead enough to invade the enemy jungler, then we'll be around a 50% win rate.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Like, I feel like, oh man.
Okay, so Irelia, that was really bad for attacking him under turret. Of course, Mord ults. In general, top laners that I recommend avoiding in ganks, unless it's just super, super free because they're really low in health. I don't recommend ganking Darius. I don't recommend ganking 𝐒𝐿, and I don't recommend ganking Mordekaiser. They have abilities in their kits to easily 1v2 people and to pop off. So unless you feel like it is free because they're super low in health, I just don't go for it. I think ganking around the Veigar would have been the better play, and your Glacial Augment, they have more CC, and they're not a 1v2 champ.
Right. And now here I didn't get anything.
Right. This is very common. If you're going up against a Mord, 𝐒𝐿, Darius, they have the tools they have the AoE and all that to fight 1v2.
Yeah.
Alright, so at this point, our best move... So we press tab, we see MF sitting on a lot of gold. We could potentially gank bot, but Veigar's backing. Our best move is to just farm up and look for the next opportunity. So let's go bottom to top or top to bottom. Either one's fine.
So generally, I guess it is always set up for full clear paths, and then if I see really a good opportunity, then I go in.
Exactly, because otherwise what happens is, sure, if you get a lucky game where every time you go in for the gank it turns out, yeah, you'll probably win. Or you can be consistently ahead because of your clear route and you're still looking for opportunities. And that's why it can be hard for players to make that change. Because, but I have these games where I have like 10 really good ganks and we win. But it's like, yeah, but it's not always going to be like that. Like, have you ever played tennis or badminton?
Yeah.
Like, you could always smash the ball really hard and really flat and get some really nice points. But realistically, winning the game, normally top spin is generally the way to go, especially at higher levels.
Right.
Well, at least in singles. Doubles are a little different. Alright, so we're just holding turret. I would still like to see us set up a clear. If we don't think Gragas is in our jungle, it doesn't matter if we're low on health because we can still clear our camps. Unless you're going back for a big item spike here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the game gets a little bit different if you're playing against something like Lee Sin or Warwick and you think they're in your jungle, but Gragas probably isn't. We should have just done golems into red into wraps. If we wanted to do bottom top, probably would have done Gromp. Ended this into blue since blue's coming up at a weird time.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, I should have cleared first, right?
Yeah, we're spending a lot of time walking around and falling just slightly farther behind.
Yeah, that's how I feel every game.
You're just trying to help your teammates too much. Just think about helping yourself and then helping them second. It's like when you're on an airplane. Whenever there's not enough oxygen, you got to put your own mask on first. Otherwise, everyone's going to die. Oh, shit. Yeah, we might be able to kill MF, maybe. But we'll probably die doing it.
Yeah, I'm like, nah. And then I fucking get slept.
Yeah. At this point in the game, I don't want to say you guys have lost, because if the enemies still throw, you can win. But in terms of our agency in the game, we're 30 CS down underneath the Gragas. We have roughly the same ganks. He has 5 KP, we have 4. We have 2 kills, 2 assists. He has 4 assists, 1 kill. So in terms of helping our lanes, we've helped roughly equally, except he's been doing more farming. So he's 2 levels up on you, for example. So what do you think is going to happen in a 5v5 team fight? It's going to get
do a lot more.
yeah, it's going to get hard. So we need the enemies to throw, try to dive us on turret, or maybe if they try to do an early Baron, we can pick them there.
Gotcha.
Gee, where are we at? What are we looking for? Thresh over pushed. All right.
I think Senna hit me there. I don't think I hit it myself, did I?
I think Senna did it.
Yeah.
Just blue smite him, slow him down, get him off Senna, Q in point blank range. Yeah, the way you're using your abilities and generally isn't bad. The only thing I've seen in terms of you using your abilities wrong was this one place where you used your W super early and it was so far behind her that she would have had to like rush to run into it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But other than that, in terms of fighting people, the ability use has seen relatively good. Like we're Eing into Q normally. And you've also, one thing I really liked is you were walking behind him and blocking his movement down here. So you definitely have a good understanding of how to do that. Threw out W a little bit too soon there. It seems like we're thinking of our W kind of like, have you ever seen those Blitzcrank players that just throw out random Qs? That's how we're using our W right now. So even if we're not going to land it, we're not looking for the Hail Mary. What we're looking for is to get value out of it. So whether it's going to land or not, we're looking to make the enemies have to move to get out of it at the very least, to cancel their autos or to make their positioning tougher. So I guess at this point, I guess you did think she might have stayed there. So that's one thing. I thought you used it by the time she was doing that.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe she'll run back and run away, which allowed me to get her, but
no, it turns off. I really like that play there, ulting in place. That was good. Yeah, I just thought you used your W a little sooner than that, but using it there wasn't that bad. Yeah. I will say it's similar to using a hook on hook champion. If you're gonna use your W, if you feel like if you're gonna use it at that moment, you're choosing to use it. If it's probably not gonna land, there's nothing wrong with holding on to it for a little bit longer. Like I understand here you might have wanted to use it soon to save his life, but in general, if you can hold on to it for a little bit longer once you're in a fight and scrapping it with them, that tends to be the better option. Because it's on such a long cooldown, you're never going to get to use it again in the fight. So if we're always...
Interesting.
Yeah, so if we're always just using it, because we haven't slowed her yet, we haven't hit her yet, we have no pressure on her, and you know how hard it is to land skill shots when you have no pressure.
So I always thought I was supposed to use W before they engage. Am I supposed to be using it during the... Like, I guess, like, I always found Ekko's W to be kind of confusing. Like, right now I use it for 2 things. One is, like, if I'm ganking, I'm trying to cut off the way they're...
Their escape route.
Their escape route.
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing earlier with and then the other one was, like, someone like Talon is coming in trying to get on me, I put W on myself. Or something like that. And I don't really know if there's other ways of using it properly.
Right. So the main way to think about it is it's completely pressure based. So I'll go back to this time where Zoe killed you.
Yeah.
So normally we wait until we're in the bush to use it so we can get a little bit closer. So before you enter the bushes a little soon, unless she was like standing over here. And it's completely pressure based. There's absolutely no one pressuring right now. Let's say if Zed was on top of her, if Zed was here pressuring, then whenever she bubbled you and ran back, she would have been fucked. But since there's no pressure, we throw out W. If there's no pressure, we're not going to land it. So she bubbles, she walks back. Now if Zed was here once again, there would have been pressure. She would have died regardless. But since we had no pressure and we used W, it's not like we're going to get too much value out of it.
Right.
And the same thing, I think we were up here. Yeah, I'll just skip forward a little bit. So it's completely pressure based. You need a teammate to either be blocking them or pressuring them to move in the way you want them. And it's kind of like herding cattle. Like if you don't have anything pressuring the cattle to move in a direction, they won't. So you either need a teammate to herd them or you have to be on top of them pressuring them. But since we're not in hit radius of her, nothing's gonna pressure her to move into that basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Now let's say instead, whenever we ran up and she was up here and Zed was too far back, if we were just stayed away from her outside of bubble radius, and if we would have completely pinned her, she would have felt a lot of pressure and we could have gotten a little more value out of it in that specific spot.
And then sorry, in that case, so let's say I didn't use the W, should I have just saved it or should I have just did it next to her when I was in the bush?
Either one would have been a better option than what we did. Okay. I think I would have just held on to it for a little bit longer until Zed could have closed more distance, but either one would have been better than what we did for sure.
Okay. And then for this one against MF, let's so should I have because she has no pressure, right? She's pressuring my either should I have put it next to my Veigar and then I don't know what's the better use of W here?
It's tough. It's just the fact that we used it so soon. We are not sure which way she's going to run yet. There's a chance she could have ran away when she saw you. There's a chance she could have panicked and run, in which case this would have worked. Or there's also a 50% chance she's going to chase for the kill. Since we're not sure, we could just try to get lucky or we could hold on to it. But regardless, we pick up the kill, so it doesn't change too much. I like that ult. That was really good.
Thanks. So yeah, here what should I be doing right now? Oh my god, no, I just walked back in the skill shot. But like here I'm okay. In my head what's going through, I'm we gotta kill. We're also down 3 people. I should be doing something. 4 actually, yeah. What should I be doing at this point? Going back to my jungle
at this point you immediately press tab, you see who's alive, you see Gragas is alive and you see Zoe is alive. So at this point pushing turret probably isn't going to turn out, so you could either maybe try to pick up one of their camps or take your camps, but either way we need to be farming. But I don't think we can get this turret since Gragas is alive and so is Zoe. Right. Here, if she does this, if we're willing to eat that skill shot, we could probably E into her and kill her here, like EQ.
Or and get that shutdown gold?
Yes, yeah, so true. We either need to commit and eat this skill shot or we just need to leave.
Right.
It's fine. At least we don't die. So yeah, Gragas is up like we saw. It was 2 versus 1 on the kill cam, so we could just be farming instead. She's over chasing. She's being greedy. She should just be shoving wave and trying to set up a bat. So we're gonna red. I don't know if have we done golems yet this game?
Once.
Once. All right.
Once in 20 minutes.
So they're picking up Herald. I don't think Herald will matter too much. You guys got a Veigar. If they try to dive you under turret, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
So farming a bit. Now, since there's pressure from your teammates being here. If you drop a W behind them and try to run, they're going to get pwned. So you could literally just throw out a neutral W here and get a lot of value. Since you have the pressure from your teammates. So you could just put it right here. If they chase, they're fucked. If they run, they'll take damage.
Right, that makes sense. Right, and they didn't do anything, so.
Right. Yeah, I probably would have used it. If one of them decided to flash, they could have maybe gotten a kill there. So you drop W. That was a solid placement. No complaints there.
Yeah.
What happened, though?
I thought we can win this fight because we were up. And then I think I should.
So your ultimate is still down for a bit. That might have made the difference. We E in, we Q. It seems like it was just the MF ult.
Yeah,
it was
I walked into it. I was just dumb. Should have walked up.
I'll say, if our ultimate was up, that probably would have made the difference because we could have negated most of that damage and healed. So I'll say, after we go in here, our ultimate's still not up. We should probably just move on the outside of it rather than standing in it. That's about it, though. Just exit it, pressure MF, move on top, and she'll have to drop ult, and then our ult will be up in a second. Other than that, though, in the fight was relatively close. 3 for 2, and they're ahead, so that's not too bad. So we're
coming up in 7. Here I'm also late game. Right now I have no idea what to do because I'm I guess I can just keep clearing jungle. Or I guess it's mid game, late game, whatever.
Since whenever you're behind, like you are here, your options are more limited of what you're allowed to do. So basically all you can do is you farm up until there's a fight, clear waves if they're shoving up, and you need to wait for the enemies to make a mistake. And when they make the mistake, that's when you can EQ, go in, drop W, everything like that. But it's not like we can just like if we go run out, it's not like we're gonna get anything. So we just need to farm up, wait for them. It's tough. Well, whenever you are behind, it's the assumption that you're gonna lose, and you just have to allow the enemy team to mess up.
Right.
So farming this is fine, clearing it out with Q. The enemies really need to pick up Baron. You guys have a lot of wave clear with the Vague Ekko to where it's going to be hard for them to pick up an inhibitor. So she pushes up here. You guys need to rotate back to this turret because it's already low. Nice. That's good. Senna goes, catches the wave. The game's stalling. That's really good. Worst case scenario for you guys, the enemies get a ward down here, over here, and then they start Baron. Because if they start Baron, the moment you guys step up, Zoe can just hug wall, toss bubbles through, and fuck your whole team. So that'd be worst case scenario for you guys. Best case scenario, they keep trying to shove up waves. You keep throwing out your Qs, they can't do anything. And they're still 2 dragons away from Soul, so it's going to take them like another 10 minutes to get Soul, realistically. So the dragon's not a big threat yet. They're not going for Baron. Wait, where are we? There we are. I'd probably hover around mid here. Looks like Zoe. Yeah, there's nothing we can really do. Our team isn't grouped up on it. Since they're grouped, there's really no reason for Zed to be going in there. We just need to be clearing waves. Looks like Thresh made a mistake. You E on him. Blue smite him. Hopefully. Not quite.
Yeah, I probably should have done that.
Stay away from more. He's going to ult you.
Oh.
Wait, who did he just ult? He ulted Veigar?
Yeah, I think he ulted Veigar.
Oh, yeah, he's screwed. Step on bubble. Yeah, what ended up happening here is basically what the enemies want, which is they're ahead, so they want a 5v5 team fight. So we need to stay on turrets clear. I know it's very tempting. It seems like the enemies are making a mistake, but unless you specifically see them somewhere else and someone by themselves, we just need to avoid this and just clear under turrets. Otherwise, this is what happens. If they're ahead, this is exactly what they want.
Right, that's fair.
They did the Genghis Khan bait on you guys. They acted like they were losing.
Is that what you call it? The Genghis Khan?
Yeah, that was one of the common tactic for the Mongols, especially in larger battles. They would string the enemies out. They would do like these faux retreats. The enemies would string out, and then they would just collapse and destroy them.
Interesting.
That's pretty much what happened there. We really thought the enemies were out of position, while at the same time we didn't necessarily see where they all were, and then we engaged and got destroyed. Yeah, so basically at this point, just defend underneath turrets. The hardest part is when you're behind. If you give up the inhib turret, you basically lose, because now once they break inhib, they have free pressure. So keeping the inhib turrets alive is super, 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 super. It's the most important turret in the game. Most important turret in the game. It really is. So they got Dragon now. At least they don't have inhibitor. If they had inhibitor, they could take Baron a little easier. So our next objective, since they just took Dragon, Baron's up, is clearing out this wave's fine. Keep an eye over here, but we need to try to move towards mid, so if they start Baron, we can punish them for it. So if they start at 5v5, if they get low, we can make them pay. In a team fight, all we can really do right now is pill. Unless one of the enemies is really low on health, since we're not ahead, we're not going to kill them. So we're just going to be pill and clearing waves.
Yeah.
Looks like Zed got picked. Yeah, Zed's not good against Hourglass mages in the late game. Zed needs to be splitting. Once they have Hourglass, Zed can't do anything. He needs to just sit on a side wave and drop pressure. And then you could sit mid shove. You just keep shoving, and if they go for Baron, you'll get at least a turret and a half, and then you guys should be able to survive for long enough. So it looks like the enemies, they're not pressuring the Baron. They really should be. They're taking their sweet time. They might just be playing around the Dragon Soul spawn.
Yeah. Should get some vision for us.
Especially while Zed's dead. That should have just been immediately go to Baron. Zoe sits on wall. Yeah. Should have been done. You really need to be careful of this wall when playing against Zoe, because the whole thing extends it, and since it's so long here, if you guys are even standing like right here, she can hit you with it. So if you're gonna come around it, you're safer, funny enough, on this side of it, since it's a little bit since it's not quite as deep and juicy, like coming at it from this way is really risky because she can like hit you from all the way back there. Oh shit, what's happening? What? Okay, so we need to be on this side of the turret in the back. We need to get a ward down. Looks like we got it. Drop the Q. Nice E. Alright. Okay.
I didn't know how I got killed like right away. I think I was waiting for my R and I just died right away.
That's why it's hard to play from behind. They just have so much more damage. Yeah, so yeah, if you dropped R, it looks like we didn't want to use R because it was all the way back there, but Moore did a lot more damage than we were expecting.
Yeah, like this fucking one-shot me.
That was disgusting. We don't have tools to kill Moore. I'm not a big fan of Senna AD carry, to be honest.
Yeah?
It's more utility support based, so unless we get ahead, like what is our team gonna do? Because she's just...
Should I have gotten like Morello Nomicon or something to burn down the Mord? Or no, not really.
His healing's minimal. He does have Conqueror, yes, but Proto Belt's so much cheaper and it gives higher value for the gold. Unless they had a true heal champion, I wouldn't have gone for it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's just not quite worth. As you can see, we're down a lot of CS. It's just a slow build up, and then once you're far enough behind, as you can tell now, you don't even have the option to farm since they're just in your jungle. So
yeah.
there becomes like an overwhelming point where it just snowballs on top of you. Now, worst case scenario here. Well, worst case scenario, they take mid inhib and then do Baron, but I guess they're just gonna go for Baron. You guys might be able to, if you could steal Baron from them or kill them on Baron, that would be a big power switch.
Yeah.
Looks like the enemies are going bot. That's really good for you guys. The longer they don't do Baron, the longer we're still in this game and we can just get passive gold.
Yeah, I guess if I were on the other side, like one kill Baron right away.
Yo, exactly. They should at least take mid and hit first. Like they should take this, run straight to Baron. There's no reason for them to try to dive you guys underneath two turrets. Oh, that's really, really bad. She should... if we're not fighting on a turret and we're behind, now it's just like if we follow this, we lose. If we don't follow it, we lose.
Yeah.
I really decided the game there.
Yeah, this is the thing, tough. Like I was skanking for really a top like 2 or 3 times, right? And then I felt like maybe I should have just helped bot, you know? Like
yeah.
Like
since it was a Mord, if it was something that can't fight 1v2 like a Trundle, or if it was like a Xin Zhao, or what are some other top laners? I can't think of top laners right now. Let me see. Like if it was Soraka gankable, Ornn gankable, Fiora gankable, Vlad semi-gankable, Renekton. Renekton's a little bit like Alawi in them, to where if you gank it, he can kill you. But yeah, pretty much avoid ganking things like Mord, Alawi, Darius unless it's free, because there's a really good chance they can turn it on you and just destroy you. Also avoid ganking Shens. Ganking Shens is usually bad, because once he hits level 6, he's going to be ulting on anyone regardless. And he's kind of tanky. So Shen, Darius, Alawi, Mordekaiser. In general, as a jungler, we don't gank them unless it is 100% free.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
And so would you say like the biggest problem I have is basically not doing the enough farming?
Yes.
not doing base.
Yeah. There was 3 specific times where setting up a full clear out from top to bottom or bottom to top would have been the best move, but instead we just set ourselves up for repeat ganking, which put us behind in golden level.
Yeah, I felt like early game we were ahead because I did that, but then I quickly fell off.
Right.
Very quickly.
Because as long as the ganks are working out, it can get you a little bit farther ahead than the enemies. But the moment it fails 2 or 3 times in a row, you start to.
Yeah, it's true.
It starts to hurt, and that's that's the issue with it. Is just the consistency of it starts to suffer. Now, the beautiful thing about the power farming is into ganks is since you're guaranteed ahead, the likelihood of those ganks actually working starts to outscale the other styled ganks. Since you just have the gold, you have the damage, you have the level 6, you have your full jungle item, the percentages just go way, way, way up. And that's why it looks so easy.
Right, yeah. Because when I watch your videos, I'm like, damn, this guy just goes in, invades, and like when I try to invade, I just die.
Right. So that the key The key is building consistent leads into being ahead, because when you're ahead, you can do whatever you want. And when you're ahead, almost everything is a good option, other than dumping all of your money into a furnace and lighting it on fire. When you're ahead, everything's a good option, pretty much. There's better options, but everything's a good option. When you're behind, there's very few good options, if any. And that's what. Right, exactly. Shit gets a lot tighter, and it's just not good. So now we can't team fight, especially if we're not underneath our base turrets. This isn't going to turn out well.
Yeah.
Even if we do pick them more, we're going to over-engage into an MF ult. Not bad. Decent ult. But yeah, like you see, they're just so far ahead. Realistically, they have double your guys' kills, more CS.
Yeah. It's just impossible.
Right. So the goal is to avoid being behind in the first place, and that is how we increase our win %. So rule number 1. Get down your ward, particularly if the enemy team has a hook or a snare level 1 support. We really need to be getting a ward down, because as you know, teammates, they'll AFK there and watch YouTube. They need a little bit of vision. So get your ward down, recall no later than 155, get Oracle Lens, and then get a leash from your bot lane. Upon doing so, we want to set up a full power clear. Particularly in our first clear as a power farm jungler, this is really good, because no matter what Gragas does, he's not going to farm quite as fast as us. So setting this up is good. Then after Wolves, we would want to go straight into Raptors.
Right.
Into Red.
Into Golems. And then
right.
Right? Unless there's like somebody really free, like someone who's like under tower kind of thing, right?
Exactly. Unless it's guaranteed free. But another thing is, if we are doing the full clear, by the time we finish Golems, it'll be around 340, 345. So if Gragas does go for this, we'll miss out. So if we do see him going for this on the full clear, you can just reset at this point, or unless there's a free gank. Because then you'll be just walking through all your empty jungle just to get to this one, when you could just reset, get items, and run to this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So this kind of messed us up. Last thing I want to mention is when you're 90% sure your teammate's going to die before you can get there, and then if they have this much HP, just let it happen. Take the scuttle. Let's go through mid. So like worst case scenario, worst case, Irelia sucked. She got herself killed. It sucks, but we still could have gotten scuttle. We probably could have at least gotten flash here, and then we would have gotten other scuttle. But we end up standing around, wasting a lot of time. Now that it did play out this way, we need to use W from the bush. Since we're already on top of him, he's already wasted his dash. If he still had dash, hold on to your W. He has no way to get away though. Use your W from the bush, favoring his frontward pathing, since he'll take a second to react to it. And then walk out. Don't E out of the bush. He doesn't know you're there. W in front, walk out, auto him. You held on to your E, which is actually fine there.
This is terrible.
Well, what we probably wanted to do was walk out, Q in point blank range, and hold on to our E, just in case he had flash. If he didn't have flash, we'd want to E in front of him, cut off his route, and body block him, like what we did here was really clean on the bot gank. Walking in front of where they want to go is really good, because it creep blocks him like in place and zigzags him.
Yeah.
And then what was another thing? Ekko's W pressure, it's best if the enemies don't know you're there. If they can walk right into you, it's really good to use. Like, we want to use the sweeper on the bush a little bit better. We hadn't quite swept the full thing. Like, if this wasn't warded, then we have so many more options. We could stand all the way in the corner of the bush here, drop it on her, and she's fucked. Or
yeah, it's true.
So in this case, let's clear the bush out first. Let's get closer. And let's try to wait to use W until we have some kind of pressure, because we're not going to land this anyways. Zed can't apply pressure. If Zed was on turret, then sure, maybe, but let's get a little bit deeper. Let's look for something else. And then basically, this is when we went top again and more wiped us clean.
Yeah.
And then the last thing you need to know is there are some champions. Mordekaiser, Darius, Alawi. York's one of them, but York needs level 6. Once York's level 6, fighting him when he has Maiden is fucking hard. Like you know, Maiden is basically a champion. So I'd add York to that list, and Shen. Shen just because he's hard to kill, and once he's level 6, it doesn't matter if he's behind. He's going to press R, and it's going to do shit. So unless those ganks on those champions is 100% guaranteed, don't do it. And York just put down once he's 6. But yeah, we came up here, put down Herald. Unless you know you can get at least a turret and a half, it's not worth using. And another condition of using it in general, if there's no one to defend it, it's usually a good time to use it since you can break the turret for free. So turret and a half, or if there's no one there to defend it, is generally the condition.
Gotcha.
But this game was still winnable. It was 8-8. This was a really big shift in power. We no longer have Herald. They still have turret, and he got the double kill. So if you're looking for the big shift, we're tied in gold too. So with even with all the mistakes that we made, bear in mind, I know everyone else in this game made plenty of mistakes. I'm just saying with the mistakes that we made, the game was still even 13 minutes into the game. So this mistake right here is probably the tipping point. Moore gets the double kill. He gets XP soak. We no longer going to have Herald. He's going to be a level 2 up on Irelia at this point once he finishes clearing.
Yeah.
And now they're 900 gold up.
Yeah, and Mortis fed.
Yeah, and he's fucking scary. He was like already scary because he had a full item and she didn't. But yeah, that's scary stuff. And then the last thing I guess would say, since you guys are behind, you have less options. You need to keep your inhib turrets alive, just clear waves, and avoid fighting. If you're going to fight when you're behind, you have to be under a turret. Otherwise, you just auto-lose. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Other than that, I like the way you were moving behind enemies to block their pathing. That was really, really good. In general, you were landing your Qs because you waited till you were closer. Some Ekko players will throw it out really soon, and they'll never be able to land the second part of your Q. The goal is landing both parts of your Q. So if you could E onto them, then Q them point blank range, or if you could walk into them and Q them, either one's fine, but we want to land both parts of our Q, and we want to wait to use W until we have some form of pressure, whether it's us or our teammate. And other than that, man, I saw a lot of promising stuff. I will say, with how good you are mid lane, I would definitely try to keep getting mid lane, but I definitely see potential as a jungler.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good. I mean, yeah, I think the autofill system can't really do anything about it. So I honestly quite enjoy jungling. I don't have much time to play this game. I play like 1 or 2 games a night during the weekdays and maybe 4 or 5 games on the weekends. And so like jungle, I feel like is one of those roles. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Is like it's less about like mechanics and more about big brain. And so yeah, and so
Most junglers don't take any mechanics or little, if any. That's mainly mid laners, other than Malzahar.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like I can actually get better at jungling by watching and learning more than just like practicing. So yeah, so I actually think I enjoy jungle as much as I do mid. I just need to get better at it.
Take it easy, Cahoodle. Have a good one, man.
Yeah, have a good one. See ya.
Peace.